Good morning to all of you and to the organizers. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk to you. So the summit is about digital transformation, and you can't think of a better platform for digital transformation other than education. And of course, everybody is talking about healthcare, e-commerce, and all that, which is your favorite transformation areas. But we have been looking at the field of education and what technology can do there. And that's my area of for last 20 years. I've been working in this area, trying to understand the nitty-gritties of education and what technology can do there. So when you look at technology for education, I don't think I need to tell you much about it. It's something that we have all gone through. Your children and whatever are all there in the system. So we have all these problems, lack of schools, lack of classrooms, even if there are schools, lack of teachers, even if there are schools and classrooms, lack of laboratories, inadequate teaching staff in terms of quality and quantity, mismatching assessment. We teach one thing, but we test something else. We ask them to think and understand, but we ask them to write a long essay and vomit out whatever they have mugged up from their tuition books. So these are all challenges. I think we have been all talking about it over the last, I don't know, from time immemorial, that we need to change, we need to bring in more quality education, right? So, and technology in education is also not new, from the use of whatever, those notorious PowerPoint slides to websites to videos to pictures and all these. We have been using technology quite a lot in trying to improve the education. Usually it is to kind of improve reuse, because if I make slides or write things on the board, I cannot use it for next time. But if I do use my slides, then I can reuse it, I can improve it. In addition, we also are familiar with online testing, learning management systems, serious games, augmented virtual reality, MOOCs. These are just a few things that we are currently talking about all around. I'm sure everybody has looked at Coursera, Audacity, and all that things. We know all those technologies. But even there are challenges, because people are talking about 95% dropout, and hardly anyone gets to understand. We don't know whether, what is the level of understanding that one goes through. And so a couple of things which I am very excited about and have been working on for some time is one, virtual labs, which is what I'm going to talk about in the remaining few minutes, and serious games. Serious games meaning educational games, where we build games which can actually have educational value. So you play the game and enjoy that game experience. In the process, some learning takes place. Okay, so it is not like games where you have a castle and you knock at the door, and then some 5 questions will come up, you answer them, then the door opens. There, the learning content and the game is disconnected, right? You don't actually learn in the process of playing the game. So we are talking about something much deeper, integrated names. So that's what we have been working on it for a long time. I work with some engineering college students and all that to build games of that type. And many of them are also being hosted as part of the virtual lab repository that we have. So coming back to what I wanted to share with you. So virtual labs for schools is a project that we started about 12 years back, 2010. We started the first prototype proof of concept project. And we built about 30 labs in various areas, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And that became very, something that was very well received by CBSE, NCERT we were working with. And then we went on to build the main phase. So today we have about 200 virtual labs covering science, mathematics, and English for school students. And these are all available free on the portal olabs.edu.in. And these are also now being brought under the Diksha platform of Ministry of Education. And so when you browse the content in Diksha platform, you can also go to the lab and perform these activities. So, and that picture there is the 𝐿ab's screenshot, the landing page of the 𝐿ab's page. So you can visit there and actually let your students also enjoy that. And so obviously something like virtual labs is something that excites people when they look at it. Wow, this is very nice. I can do Hooke's law on sitting in front of my chair. I can just do Hooke's law. I can do focal length of a convex mirror. I can do how burning of magnesium looks like. I can determine the boiling point, all sitting at your home in front of a PC, right? Of course, the difference is that when you actually determine the boiling point of water in the physical lab, at least some water will fall on you, you will burn your finger, but nothing will fall on you on the virtual world, right? So, which is good and bad because you don't get a physical feel of it, but you can do all the activities that is required for those experiments. So, but schools also liked it. Everywhere the feedback was good, but adoption was low. And then comes something that we have all been afraid of, the pandemic. And in the pandemic, every school teacher overnight became a virtual teacher doing recorded lectures on video and mobile and delivering classes. But what do you do about labs for particularly the higher classes? And how can you give a 10 standard pass without having your physics, chemistry, biology labs completed? So that's where this actually turned around, and the whole school, CBSE, NCERT, they all came around and said, this is the thing that we needed, and a lot of excitement about it, and now it has gone to the highest levels of governance, and the government is committed to building 800 virtual labs for schools over the next 2 years, covering almost the entire school curriculum. And we are happy to be part of that, and we hope we will be able to bring in a lot of useful material for our children in the days to go. So this is the landing page of the 𝐿ab's portal. So everybody talks about laboratories, and the importance of laboratories is that they are important devices in the learning process because they gives you a hands-on feel of the lessons. So if I talk about how magnesium burns or how sodium reacts in water, it will still be hand-waving. But if I can actually show you the kind of reaction that happens, except the heat, you can feel everything, right? So you get a feel of what they actually look like. And they also connect the theory to real life. So what happens to the Newton's law or thermodynamics or whatever. So they can all be experienced. And one of the things that we have been crying over for many years is that students don't understand experimenting. So and even in a physical lab, the teacher will say, go, put this, read that, put this, read that, write the numbers, and get out. You don't know why you're doing it, you don't know what is the plan, you don't know what is it that you're looking for. So experiment as a key paradigm in science is something that we want to impart that value to the students, and we need to spend enough lab time in order to do that. So in the traditional mode, that is not possible. So we want to look at virtual labs as creating that additional opportunities. In addition, we all know that if the student is actually involved in the activity that is being talked about, the learning is better. Tell me, I will forget. Show me, I may remember. Involve me, I will understand. Right? So we want to do that, and this is what educational technology people are talking about: active learning. All these times, involving the students in the learning activity. So cost and space requirement for physical infrastructure and equipments is a major concern. As I said, many places there are no schools. If there are schools, there are no labs. If there are labs, there are no equipments, and therefore a lot of challenges there. And even if you have all that, things like chemistry lab requires continuous supply of raw material, acids, bases, and all that. So these are challenges. So therefore, like I think most of us would have done, we have one hour slot every week where you go and just do whatever the teacher said and come back completely dazed as to what happened and what did we do. So we get limited access, that too in group mode. And we also are short of a lot of things that we would like to demonstrate to the student, but we can't because there is constraints of physical lab, like dangerous reactions, time-taking tasks, very fast-paced phenomena, and things like that. So these are all some of the reasons why we want to look at virtual labs. But the key point is, the right on the corner, look at the labs as amplifiers, not as replacements. Let them go and get a little bit of burning off because of sulfuric acid or whatever on their finger. Let them drop a test tube and break it. Otherwise, the lab is incomplete. But after spending that 1 hour or something, let them spend another 4 hours using virtual labs to amplify that experience. Okay, and that's intended mode of using that. So given the time constraint, I'm going to go over, but the slides are available. If anybody want to make use of it, most welcome. So it can be, we are expecting that the teacher can use this virtual labs to make a feel of what the lab looks like, what are the kind of things that he is going to do before they go to the lab, and after the lab, come back and say, no, did you see this? Did you observe this? Did you kind of notice this behavior? You have post-lab reflections and analysis. And when you are teaching that content, you can also use that as a backup to say, see, this is what it actually looks like, right? So as an instructional device. And what we have also done is, it's not just the software component of the simulation, but we have added the theory, the understanding of the process, auxiliary requirements like a plotting, measurement. All of these are built in the OLAPS platform. So if a lab requires you to do a plotting, you get a graph and the points are plotted, you can actually get the complete experience done out of that experience. Okay, so we call that we are providing the complete ecosystem. So this is actually what a typical virtual lab looks like in OLAPS. So you can see, I'm sure those of you with some physics would recognize the ammeter and the voltmeter and the rheostat and all that. Okay, so you actually click, you connect it, you can measure, you can see, and when you change the type of material, you can see that the current changes, flows, you measure the actual values. And even places where we are actually, you have to measure, let's say, the length, we actually provide a virtual scale, a virtual protractor to measure angles. So all of these, you actually get a real feel of what is actually happening there. And the entire content is completely aligned with NCERT curriculum, and the content is reviewed by CBSE teachers, so at least it's a highly acceptable degree of this. And everyone provides high degree of interactivity. So where to use, I already mentioned, before the lab, after the lab, and as instructional material, or actually also active learning. So every lab has lab-specific affordances. So if you talk about a pendulum, the wire length, the value of G, the material of bulb, these are changeable. So you can actually experiment with the different scenarios. So they are not predefined canned scenarios, but a lot of flexibilities. If you take a tense conversion in English lab, you can actually choose the source and target sentence. The system generates new sentences for you, asking you to produce the corresponding answer, gives you feedback if you don't get it right, so you can keep practicing as long as you want till you get it right. And tables to record data, plotting provisions, all of these are provided to you there. Going further, in the labs to come, we want to look at more challenges. So one of the things is, people are asking for is, can I conduct lab exam using virtual labs, right? So that's a little tricky question. So that's what one of the things that we are trying to look at. Another problem that we found during the pandemic was if the student is alone in the lab, because usually we were looking at teacher-guided labs, but in the pandemic, students are sitting at their home and they want to perform. So timely guidance, collaboration. Can a student in Manipur and Tamil Nadu actually work together on the lab, perform the experiment together, share the results? Okay, so these are some of the things that technology is making us able to do. Immersive experience, so instead of everything being done by mouse clicks, can we do gestures, audio cues, and all that to interact, so that you get a more comfortable experience. As the previous speaker talked about CX, so here is SX for student experience. Okay, so that's what we are trying to do there. and bringing in elements of gamification to keep interest. So at the end of 1 year, you can actually see I scored 90 on my virtual labs, and you scored 99. I got so many badges, you got so many badges. You can create a little bit of positive competition in these areas. And of course, one of the challenges is building labs for non-science subjects like language, social science. So these are things that we are trying out, various ideas. So we are also telling the teachers, if you think of better ways of doing this, let us know. We will be happy to do that. Maybe I'm almost at the last minute. So these are all things that we are trying to do. Okay, so I think I scored 50 seconds to go. So that's what we are trying to do. So all these labs are available at olabs.edu.in, and we have a Facebook page also we do, and that's my email address. So if any of you want to discuss offline, you're most welcome to write to me. So this is a journey that I think it's only 10-year-old, and we are very happy with the kind of impact that we've been able to do. So when somebody in the Ministry of Education come back and say, you actually could, give us a challenging solution to in a very critical scenario, that was something that's very, very happy. And on LinkedIn and all that, when I share some of these thoughts, there are occasionally somebody come and say, yes, my son is using it in the school, and that's a happiness. And one of the things that we are doing is I'm working with some couple of engineering colleges. Their student projects, I'm asking them that build virtual labs. Okay, so I'm guiding them virtually, and about 15 labs have been completed as student projects and uploaded on the Diksha portal, and another 20 groups are currently working with me. So these are things that we want to do. So we feel this is something that we can contribute to the education ecosystem in India. Thank you.